Darren Saul is the co-founder of the IT recruitment company Carnegie Hill. Welcome to the show, Darren.
The second one, which I really love the sound of, Swim Against the Tide, or Swim Against the Recruitment Tide. Really quite an enticing title. Can you tell me a little bit what you mean by that? And let's explore some examples of when you've seen that in action.
Now, swimming against the recruitment tide is something that I've noticed people do to me, and I said, wow, that really works. And I've since then subsequently given that advice to some other job seekers, some other very frustrated job seekers, and the results have been astonishing. But basically the norm nowadays is for people to submit a job application and just wait, or submit a job application and follow up in a couple of days, with phrases like, oh, by the way, Darren, I just wanted to make sure that you received my resume. Fantastic, but there is such a better approach. And what I'm talking about here is pretty much turning that whole equation around and being proactive and being consultative. So what I'm saying is, it's great to be able to qualify what it is that you are presenting information for before you actually present that information. It's basic consultative sales. So what I'm saying is, if you can, and it's not easy, try and have a phone conversation with the consultant before you send in your resume. Obviously, consultants can be a little bit elusive and busy, and they sometimes set themselves up to not make too many phone calls. But a little bit of persistence will pay off, and if you can try and have a phone conversation. So basically, if you can try and qualify the opportunity at hand with the consultant before sending in your resume, it allows you to sell yourself properly. It allows you to tailor your resume if need be, etc.
Look, I might pick up on that point. You've said that recruitment agents are busy, and they are. They very much are. But I'm just guessing now, that if you take the approach of, look, I'm ringing to just check up on the job, and can you just tell me a little bit about what you need? I'm really here to make sure that your job is easier, and let's work as a partnership. I'm absolutely sure, and you'd be the best person to ask this question too, that recruitment agents would love you because you're making their job easier.
Absolutely. What better way for us not to have to sift through a million resumes, make a million phone calls to find that ideal candidate? If that ideal candidate comes to us, everybody's happy.
Yeah, so it's a matter of being proactive and trying to take some of the workload off the recruitment agency, understanding that they're very busy and that it's, you've got some examples of when that's really worked. I'm really keen to pick up on this.
Kind of a mass example, but over the last couple of months, people have presented to me sometimes with quite difficult circumstances. Competition is high. Job seekers have been looking for work for the last 4 or 5 months sometimes, and in particular, a couple of people that I'm thinking of were overseas immigrants. So they had a couple of disadvantages already. They don't have Australian residency, and they don't have local experience. And the advice I gave them is say, let's change the whole equation. Let's try and utilize this kind of strategy. It's not going to be easy, and it takes a little bit of practice. But if you do that, I guarantee you that the results will be astonishing. And yet within 6 weeks, all of them said to me, Darren, fantastic, thank you so much for the advice. I've got a job, and what's more, they're going to sponsor me.
Yes, I remember you telling me about that. It was a very challenging situation where they had a bit of a double whammy to contend with, and they succeeded by being proactive and thinking outside the square. And that's what we're really talking about here, isn't it? Thinking outside the square and not being a passive candidate by simply responding to an ad, ringing up in 3 days, as you said, making sure that they got your resume and then letting it sit. It's a matter of being proactive and moving through the process yourself and taking charge of it.
Exactly. And sometimes challenging traditional methods and challenging conformity, which is something that I love to do.
I just want to pick up on one last comment, and that is the third of the 3 principles. Do unto others as you would like them to do unto you, and they will. And
this is basically just a revision in common sense and common courtesy. But again, the world is moving so fast, we tend to lose sight of what's going on, we lose perspective, and we forget to execute a lot of these strategies. And it's simple things like respecting people's priority situations. But one thing that I absolutely love, and that is asking people for their time. And this can be used in any circumstance, whether it's looking for work or personal. And I use this myself when I'm engaged in business development activity. But if you simply ask someone for their time, so is it okay if you've got 5 minutes? Yep. It automatically shifts the dynamic in your favour and gives you a captive audience for 5 or 10 minutes. And again, preparation and confidence is key here, because you've got 5 or so minutes to sell yourself properly. And if you've done your work, you've done your homework, you can do that, and you can execute, and you can achieve the outcome that you wanted. So simple stuff like asking people for their time, honouring appointments, following up on requests. If someone asks you to send in a resume, or tweak your resume a little bit because it needs to be tailored slightly to the client's needs, then do it. Don't let the recruitment agent have to chase you. And it's amazing how many people do this.
Great. And I think if you use that phrase, do unto others as you would have them do unto you, which is a common phrase and, fundamental, as you said, courtesy 101, then that stands you in good stead, and the other things will follow. So let me just reiterate what you've said. There's 3 main points that Darren has mentioned in today's interview. Number 1, market yourself for success. Number 2, swim against the recruitment tide. Maybe the most exciting thing I've heard for a very long time. Be proactive, but also be a little bit unconventional. Take control of the interview process, and don't let them come to you or wait for them to come to you. Be a bit more proactive, take control. And the third thing, do unto others as you would have them do unto you, and they will. So common courtesy 101,